everybody. I'm Matthew Haviland with the Haviland Group, Keller Williams Realty, here with my father, Richard Haviland.
Hello.
And our attorney expert, James Schroeder.
Hi, how you doing?
Wanted to let you know, in case you didn't hear this, in the press of Atlantic City, they just released an article that Atlantic County, New Jersey is the #1 in foreclosures for first quarter of this year. We were also #1 in foreclosures in the first quarter of last year, in the last quarter of last year, of 2014. So we have a significant issue here. Many homeowners are facing foreclosure, and we're here to help. We want to offer some solutions, some options. I've created this report, which is called On the Edge of Losing Your Home. I'm just going to roll through some of these options quickly. 1 is a short sale, 2 is reinstatement, 3 is a forbearance or a repayment plan, 4 is a mortgage modification, 5 is rent the property, 6 is a deed in lieu of foreclosure, 7 is bankruptcy, 8 refinance, 9 is the Service Members Civil Relief Act, and 10 is sell the property if you have equity in the property. So there are options, ways that you can keep the home. If you're interested, contact us and I'll be happy to send you this report, which gives you further details. Right. What we want to talk today about is short sales, and Mr. Schroeder is an expert in short sales. He was just actually featured in that article in the paper, and it's specializing in South Jersey short sales. So what's a short sale?
A short sale is a modification of a civil lawsuit. So what happens in a short sale is that somebody is served with papers and told that the bank is going to exercise their right against the property. Taking you back to the day that you bought the property and you signed the mortgage papers, what happened was you agreed to pay your mortgage on time every month, and if you didn't, then the bank could exercise their right in 2 different ways. The first is that they can come and get the property. And essentially, when you're served those papers at the beginning of a foreclosure process that leads at the end to a sheriff's sale of your property, in Atlantic County in New Jersey, the way the law is set up, 99% of the time that sale goes back to the bank. A private investor doesn't buy it. But what the bank has an opportunity to do is to take that property back, but then also you're sued for the deficiency balance of that property, meaning the amount that is unpaid as of the day of sheriff's sale or wherever it is you are in the process. A short sale is when you sell the property with the bank's permission to a third party, another person who might be a homeowner that wants to move their family in there, an investor, whoever that is. And part of the short sale process is obviously the bank is agreeing that they're allowing this sale to happen and transfer that title or that property by deed to that person that's purchasing. But the second piece of that is that deficiency judgment, which is key, is that in any short sale that I do, or any attorney working should do, make sure that you have a forgiveness of deficiency balance, or that the bank agrees to waive deficiency judgment. That's the language that needs to be in every short sale. By the way, that's also why a short sale is not just a regular real estate transaction as we're used to. It is the negotiated settlement of a civil litigation, and that's lawyer stuff. And that's why we have to be so particular about the third party agreement where the bank writes the letter and says, we'll allow this short sale to take place. So essentially what you're doing is you are walking away or without that house and the responsibility of that on your back through the sale of a property, rather than waiting for the bank to come get that property through a sheriff's sale. A short sale, sheriff's sale, people get confused sometimes, but a sheriff's sale is when the bank takes the property back. And the problem with that is you still owe the balance of that loan, and they can come after you with a judgment for the next 30 years. They can take your tax returns, they can garnish your wages, they can go into your bank account. Any assets you have that they can find, they can seize. And that is why almost everybody who has a sheriff's sale in their past is driven into some form of bankruptcy.
So Jim, let me ask you a question. Let's say I'm a homeowner and I bought my home 4 years ago. I bought it as a veteran, so with no money down. I paid $300,000 for it. My mortgage balance is approximately $300,000 now, but my house is only worth $200,000. So what you're telling me is, rather than being foreclosed on, I could sell the property, say for $200,000 if that's what the current value is today, and the extra 100,000 that I owe, that will be forgiven?
That'd be forgiven as part of the deal.
Okay.
Now, there are really three pieces that you're looking for in a short sale from a perspective of a seller that, again, as your attorney, I'd be informing you of, and also making sure in the paperwork. The first is that forgiveness of the deficiency, that $100,000
Right.
deficiency, which you
I
just
don't want them
explained
coming
to me
after
again.
me for the extra 100,
Absolutely,
right?
that's it.
Okay.
The other thing that people struggle with, and it's a consideration, is that obviously their credit report and their credit score has gone in the tank.
Right.
And it's a little nuanced of a point, but if you allow me to make it, a short sale helps your credit, and here's how.
It helps your credit.
It helps your
Wow.
credit,
Okay.
and here's why. Because right now, if you go into your credit report, you go on to creditkarma.com or any of those, and you pull a free credit report, it's going to show that you are 90, 180, 365, some people 1,000 days delinquent or behind on that mortgage.
Right.
Obviously, anybody sees that and reads that, your biggest investment in your life, and you're failing to make that payment,
Right.
you are a huge credit risk, and that's really just weighing down every other good credit decision you've made in your life.
Right.
You might be paid up on your credit cards and everything else, but this is the one that's killing you. You might be making your car payment, but this is the one. So what happens with a short sale is, and it'll often say in the letter, but the way these are reported is once you've come through the process, you've come through the closing table, like we're going to be at the closing table in just a few minutes with some sellers.
Right.
What happens is the banks, it's reported to the credit bureau as accounts settled for less than what was owed. The other thing people can do is they can Google FICO score or Fair Isaacs and short sales
Right.
and read that back in October, Fair Isaacs went and made it softer as to how they view short sales, and people have gone
Wow.
through. So many people now have gone through short sales that they don't view it as harshly on your credit as they
Right.
used to. But simple the fact that no longer it says I'm 1,000 days behind on my mortgage. It doesn't fix your credit, but what it really does is it stops the bleeding of how many days you're late
Right.
and allows you to kind of hit the reset button, and your credit will slowly begin to increase if you're making other good, savvy financial decisions.
So how long would, let's say if I'm in the situation I described, I'm losing the house, so I do a short sale, I sell it for $200,000, I owe $300,000, the debt's forgiven, my credit starts getting better.
Yeah.
How long is it going to take me before I could purchase another home?
Generally, it's 2 to 3 years. Depending on the kind of loan that you had, then it's going to determine that. Different loans, FHA, VA.
Right.
The other thing is that that's just an eligibility thing. Beyond that, you've got to be making those right decisions to build your credit back up.
And to still have income and...
But we're already seeing, as you know, people that we've done short sales with
Yeah.
2, 3, 4 years ago are back in the market. Usually you're
Right.
looking at being a rental or living with family or some kind of a situation
Right.
for about 2 to 3 years as you hit the reset button and rebuild your life. And then you're back into the buyer's market again. And what's interesting about our region right now is certainly Atlantic County, Cape May, Cumberland, all around us, Ocean, Burlington, where you guys serve, Camden. We're in a depressed market. I don't see that changing. Great drastic. You, rather than sitting on a $300,000 bad investment, in 2 years you could buy that house again, and it might be for
buy my same house back.
$200,000.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, there's certain affidavit things with that and buying your same house, but I've seen people do it, and they've done it legally. The third thing I want to say, though, about, you know, a consideration with a short sale is that there is an IRS issue that they're working through right now, and that is that the bank, in some situations, considers that $100,000 in your scenario
Right.
gift income, and you need to talk to your CPA about that. Just like you have realtors and you have an attorney to help you with the legal stuff, you need to have a financial professional to assist you with looking at that. It's
So I don't
not
have to
in all
pay-
circumstances.
So I don't have to pay income tax on that $300,000 that was forgiven. Is that what you mean?
Well, if you are foreclosed upon, you know, it's set aside, but really it's just the deficiency balance. So it would be the $100,000.
Right, the $100,000.
And you'd have to pay on that. There was what's called the Mortgage Foreclosure Act of 2007 that President Bush enacted. President Obama has extended it twice. There's now talk, especially within our area, because we're in such a depressed situation, Congress is looking at extending that in perpetuity for anybody that's done a short sale. As of right now, here at the end of April 2015, Congress hasn't acted on it, but there are lobbyists that are out there, and there are people that are working towards that because they understand that getting a gift, the way the IRS set it up was that if your grandmother gives you $100,000 because she loves you, that's taxable.
Right.
But these are people that are in deep, desperate financial times,
Exactly.
and Congress is trying to look at how can they bifurcate those two so that we don't punish people that are making solid financial decisions by short selling their house rather than losing them in foreclosure.
Very good. Good. Thanks, Jim.